Welcome to the Go Big Redcast, the Husker fan sports show.
Welcome to the Go Big Redcast. I'm your host, David Gaspers, and I'm with Honke. To the Go Big Redcast. I'm your host, David Gaspers. I'm hearing myself speak, guys. I'm also with Boomer.
Yeah, I'm here. There was a game tonight, Dave. We might get to that, but we'll get to that in a bit. So it is what it is. Yeah, I think it's a theme for the show today.
Yeah, technical difficulties on our side there.
We're the ones doing a live remote from the stadium, guys. We should be having the technical difficulties.
Well, I'm really looking forward to the start of the Raiders season tomorrow with the free agent acquisitions.
Oh,
of
sure.
Adams, Chandler Jones.
Now.
They just signed Waller to a $51 million extension.
All right, we're not talking Raiders yet, Rob. You can do that on your own podcast.
I thought we were trying to be positive here. Sorry.
Well, let's start on a positive note. And Boomer and I just want to thank the whole athletic department and Keith Mann and Vicky and Judy, who was helping us get into the media area initially. Super helpful. The whole team here was phenomenal. Also, all the media that we ran into, Steve Sipple,
Mike Babcock, Aaron Sorensen,
Michael Severe, everyone that you could imagine that's been on the show were super helpful and super welcoming. So an amazing experience. We got a lot of great video. Hopefully you saw the tunnel walk. We also got the Thunderstruck video. I don't know if we sent that out yet.
Georgia Southern fans were excellent as well. They were very apologetic. So they talk about how
they were super nice before the game too, though. I want to be sure. They were just really great before the game and then after. We actually the media press box is right next door to at least one of the suites that Georgia Southern had, and so we kept on hearing their cheering throughout the game. So that was a little bit challenging, but besides that, a great experience and one that we hope to get to do again.
Well, except for the game part.
Except for the game part. So let's talk about that a little bit, Honke. Obviously, you were at the game, Rob, also here, and it was not short of fireworks. There was plenty of scoring and crazy amount of yards, really on both sides, but unfortunately, Georgia Southern just almost had a record day. I think they had 642 yards of offense and 656, I believe, was a record back in 1956.
That's like the most yards that Nebraska has given up to an opponent since like 19 some odd, like 300.
56, Rob.
56,
we were just saying.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. There's not a lot between 642 and 656.
No, not a lot.
Both are not good.
I mean, it would have been the kind of game I'd enjoy if I wasn't emotionally invested in one of the teams. That would have been a fun game, way to end the evening. A huge shootout, offense everywhere. That would have been a lot of fun to watch. But we are the Go Big Redcast. So
I think if we had given Georgia Southern an opportunity for 7 more yards, they would have gotten it. So, I mean, at least we can go on that one. Yeah.
Well, Honke, we were talking about this during the game, me and Boomer, is in the sense that we had a lot of things break our way. We won turnover +2 today.
Yeah.
And penalty-wise, we had a few penalties here and there, but we actually overcome most of those on the offensive side of the ball.
Replays went our way.
Over and over again there, especially in crucial moments. And yet we still find a way to lose because
bad clock management from Georgia Southern too at the end of the first half.
They gave up at least 3 points there.
Yeah.
And we still lose the game 45-42. And just did not have an answer schematically. It felt like on the defensive side of the ball to stop Clay Elton and Kyle Van Tress. They just did everything at will, pretty much.
Well, on the bright side, at least we didn't lose any ground in the West. I mean, that's
well, Minnesota actually looked pretty good today versus Western Illinois.
Illinois beat Virginia there. So
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to say. This defensively, it was an absolute collapse of epic proportions. It's something that the hardened realists coming into the season, they weren't predicting this either. I mean, there's a lot of things that we checked off the list coming into the season that we needed to do better at, special teams and certain things with the offense and all that. None of that applies tonight.
Checked all the boxes.
None of that applied tonight. That defense couldn't make a stop at any point. Kudos to the crowd, by the way. Right in front of us is where their center at the end of the first half kind of moves the ball a couple of times, and I think the crowd noise did affect that. That took 10 seconds off the clock. That crowd deserves 3 points right there because they didn't get a chance to kick a field goal. You did everything you could, Husker Nation. There's not, I go back. I've got the quote up here. I've got the one from Trev last year where he goes, "There's not a lot of empirical data out there that will suggest this will work. Let's be honest. But I also think if there's a decision point, whether it's football or anything else, Scott's a brother. He's a Husker and he's a Nebraskan. I don't envy Trev right now because I think that there's going to be some real tough decisions that need to be made. When or how they get made, I don't know. I can tell you the conversations we have walking out and not just listening to people talk. This was as bad as you thought it was going to be. I mean, we said it coming in that you can't lose games like this.
No, you can't have. I don't know where to go with this. Talked about needing. Yeah, you can't have a runway and crash the plane nose first into it. I mean, this was the season where you had things fall your way as far as the schedule went and what you wanted to happen, and they just haven't been able to take advantage of it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
No, and I can say walking back after the game too, and I had the conversation with Honke, and I think he said the other day, and I don't remember exactly where, he says, the one thing that, Husker fans have not been are apathetic. Well, guess what? Tonight, the whole walk back just felt like apathy. Like people were just like,
or hurt.
Yeah, hurt. Yeah, I don't know. It was like, people were like talking about what bar they were going to. They weren't even talking about the game. They were talking about what bar they were headed to, where they were going to go after the game, what they were going to be doing. Who was going to be, like Rachel, my wife, who's sitting right behind us here. We were just walking along and I was trying to take in what everyone was talking about. And it just got to that point to where nobody was even talking about the game afterwards. It just kind of felt.
I hear you, Rob.
There's a resignation.
Yeah, there is a resignation. That's a good term. Michael Sevier was coming down to the field with us when we were setting up for this show. And he compared it to a living wake, something down in New Orleans where, you have this wake for someone who's not dead yet, and I don't want to go down that path right now. It's just not really what we do on this show, but there is a somberness here about that, and our resignation, And then to me, the hurt is real, just watching that game and when we were down and just struggling to stop them at any moment, just thinking about all the great tradition in the stadium, the black shirt defense, and seeing that just get shred apart. It hurts. It just hurts,
The thing that kind of kept coming back to me, I was looking across the field at the beginning of the game, but Trev was on the other side at about the 10-yard line, and he comes out there and, does some of the photo ops during the breaks and stuff. And all I could think of, because basically defensively, we're not competitive from the first play. They really had their way with us, minus a couple interceptions that we had. But short of that, they really went up and down the field time again on us. And all I could think of is that's a black shirt. That's a Butkus Award-winning guy. That defense is in his blood. And to see this performance is just got to kill him. That is and it really is shocking. It's shocking because if we were going to have issues, this was not the thing I thought we'd have those issues with. And I get it. I listened a little bit just driving down here. I listened to Jay Foreman talk about all the new guys we have on defense, and he's not wrong. None of that's wrong.
Yeah, true freshman starting at middle linebacker.
Yep. There's a lot of new pieces. Totally get it. This defensively, I can't believe this is as bad of a defensive performance as I've seen at any point. And
And we got a little bit of pressure on Ventries later in the game, but I don't know if we ever recorded a sack. And it showed. The guy looked like a Heisman Trophy candidate for most of the night.
Is the worst thing. He's played here before and looked nothing like this at Buffalo.
Yeah. And this is year one for Clay Helton, taking over a triple option team and has converted them into one of the best passing teams in the country in 2 games. And no excuses, right? I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I do. Here's Ken saying, got to love Casey Thompson, the sheer tenacity of that offense. Grant and Allen were beast. Washington, Palmer, company were lights out. Look, I mean, I guess I'll try to sprinkle in some positivity there with offensively. A lot of things. I liked what I saw. I mean, those guys were gamers. They came out. They were put in bad
the
situations.
Offense looked better. It picked up where it left off in the fourth quarter of North Dakota, and even probably looked better. I mean that offense wins you the game versus Northwestern. The defense was not ready, and I don't know what to think about the Oklahoma game. Oklahoma had how many yards in the first half?
7 yards rushing against Kansas State today, but
in the
that
first
could translate to 70 against us pretty quick. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the narrative of this week was they did more one-on-ones in practice, and hopefully what we were saying last night during the live show was that's going to show up right away on the field with better tackling, better line play. That's what we wanted to see. That was the outcome of that. And I mean, again, you didn't see any of it. I mean, the way they ran the ball up the middle on us.
67-yard run, 47-yard run.
I mean, the defense did tighten up that later in the game. They couldn't run. They tried a whole bunch of times, the goal line and third and shorts, and they couldn't get them. So they did toughen up a little there. But early on, when it made a big difference.
Well, when they could widen you out and spread you out, that's where they got those gaps up the gut.
Yeah.
But then when they got in confined areas like goal line, they had trouble at that point, getting that same kind of movement. But I mean,
and their last touchdown, Boomer had been calling this for almost the whole game, but especially in the second half, where he was like, Van Treese could just run that right up the middle. There were several times where he could have done that exact same play that scored the winning touchdown for him, and had chosen not to. And he finally pulled the trigger at the right moment because it was there for most of the second half. It felt like, Offensively, I mean, a more positive note. Offensively, saw a lot of double tights, some unbalanced line stuff, and just running the ball. I mean, they went. There were some pretty big sets there. Actually, there was a second running back in the backfield at times there. They were doing pistol with that double tights. Some pretty creative stuff on offense. To your point, Honke, it just wasn't enough.
There was even a drive or two where they were just almost running exclusively quarterback runs, like 2 or 3 in a row with both Casey and when they even brought Smothers in.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear anything up in the box on Prohaska and the injury? Anything at all?
No, we just saw him. He got off under his own power, and I never heard anything further on it. So
nothing more. But what looked like a lower body injury, but nothing more than that. Hopefully, it's nothing major. Obviously, with the issues with the knee. So.
Mm-hmm. It's not lost on any of us that the sellout streak continues next week through Oklahoma. The game is sold out. Then there's a bye week, and then it's homecoming. Indiana, homecoming. That game's not sold out yet. And, I mean, it's unthinkable to me to think of not having a sellout, number one. It's unthinkable of me to think of it not happening on a homecoming weekend of all things.
Yeah.
I just all I'm doing, this is hope right now. I hope there's some spark. I hope there's something that comes out of next week's game. And I have no empirical data to quote Trev. I have no empirical data to find this. I hope there is some kind of spark that comes out of next week somehow that can lead us somewhere. I don't know what to think right now. I'm literally in shock what happened with that defense.
I don't think they know either.
Yeah.
It was a tough thing at halftime. Me and Boomer are like, what can they do to fix this? And I'm like, I guess, mix up coverages, make it harder for Van Treese to find open guys, I guess. But it didn't think like if they were going to have to bring the kitchen sink to get to him, he was just going to pick them apart. And
their short passing game was quite excellent. And, their receivers were great. Yeah.
Yeah, they were running bubble screens. Like every single bubble screen they ran, it felt like they were getting 10, 12, 15 yards on them, and then they'd immediately turn around and it looked like, they'd run the ball. And not only were they running it, it felt like they were just running it right up the gut of our defense every single time.
Well, they would get 5 yards on every first down to make it 2nd and 5. I think they had 7 of 7 to start off on third downs.
Yes.
That lasted them well into the second half. So they were continuing drives left and right. And I don't know. For me, I guess watching it live, and I like watching them sometimes on TV where you can get a little better replays, but watching it live, I'm sitting there watching it going, it's not like we're missing tackles. I can't just blame it on that. Aggression wise, it seemed like we were getting close to the quarterback, but never could quite get to him. He seemed on, and when he'd throw it, man, every time he threw it to a guy, the guy seemed to have 5 yards around him. It's like you want tighter coverage, but I don't know without rewatching. I don't know why we were so far off every time.
There was one touchdown happened in the end zone right in front of us. And the guy sitting next to me said, "Why in the world is our player?" It looked like he started the play in the back of the end zone on a goal line, almost on like a goal line play, where their receiver basically just had to take 2 steps, turn around. He was right there in the end zone. Like what? Where is that coverage on the outside for some of these players? You watch it, and I'm sorry if I sound frazzled. It's so mind-boggling to have watched it live.
Befuddling, Rob.
I'm guess what, Dave? I'm at a loss for words. I know that doesn't happen very often, but I'm confused. I am. I just don't understand how a team that looked so good last year is like, I guess, were those 4 or 5 pieces that they lost? Like
the defensive,
that's how important they were, and it just blows my mind because I thought this was the one thing, like Honke said earlier, that coming into the season, okay, cool, we're going to be able to plug some new pieces in there and take off where we landed, and it just it just hasn't happened. And the offense is fantastic. And there was not a single time throughout the night where the offense got the ball and I thought, okay, they're not going to be able to score here. They scored every single time they needed to score.
99 yards on that last drive.
Yeah. Right.
When they did the review and we got the ball at the 1 instead of it being an incompletion.
Yeah.
And I was looking up the clock. It was 4:05.
Oh,
and I was talking to Kathy. I was like, well, that's a good thing. Let's take 4 plays to score. Let's take 2 minutes to score because I don't want to give them the ball with 4:05.
They really didn't need that play. We were in the press box, and I'm sure he won't bother that we're going to say this. George Darlington is up there, and he mentioned about that time. He's like, boy, we need about 2 minutes to get the ball back and score again because whoever has the ball last is going to win, And and he was certain that they needed to almost let Georgia Southern score that touchdown faster because he's like, you're not gonna give yourself enough time. And sure enough, he was absolutely right.
Just great. Well, at the very least, you talked about being up there in the press box. So tell us a little bit about what the experience was like, just pregame. Were you down on the field? At Boomer, I did see you down on the field during tunnel walk and stuff. I know we'll get on this more on next week's show. But just kind of with it fresh in your mind, what was the experience like for you guys?
Yeah, it was great. Obviously, we're here again, right? We went back and forth a couple different times, tried to figure out all the logistics up and down the elevators and around the field. Press box is great. All that we could have imagined, I suppose, except for, as Boomer noted in one of the tweets, we're on the 3rd level of the press box, and the windows have all those dividers in them. So we had to kind of duck around and move
right about on the upper hedge, right where you need to see it. But
yeah. So maybe we need to keep on working ourselves further down the press box. So maybe like in another 5 to 10 years, we can have.
What's funny, Dave, is where you and Boomer are standing right now. Rachel and I left our seats to go use the restroom at the end of the game, and there was about 5.5 minutes left on the clock, and we look and no security, anybody like at the steps right in front of you where you're standing. And so we just walked down, and she's looking at me. She's like, "Well, can we be here?" And I'm like, "They're not telling us." We watched the end of the game right where you're standing right now.
Yeah. The lower bowl, you can come right down. Actually,
So
that's standard.
Yeah, we were okay. So I didn't know that because obviously, but yeah. So we finished watching the game right there in front of the Georgia Southern fans, like everything, and it was it was a cool experience,
It's just it was such a cool weekend overall. To do the live show last night, to do all day tailgating day. This is the part of me, and we get to play 2 roles here tonight. Rob and I are fans, and you guys are media tonight.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the role of the fan right now. This just doesn't feel fair to me. It was a great day. We spent all this time at the rail yard. I mean, the fan in me, it's not even apathy right now. It's just I just can't believe this. I can't believe what I saw out there against a team that should never be. And look, it's not that I'm not trying to discredit them.
Georgia Southern.
All credit to them.
Not Georgia State.
Georgia Southern. They made all
North Georgia.
They look like they look like Georgia out there. I mean, they went at will against our defense. I can't believe it. I mean, that is at the very least, we'll call it what it is. That is an absolutely unacceptable performance by a defense, by a Nebraska starting defense. So at the very least, that's what that is. We're not going to your point earlier, Dave, we're not going to get into what's going to happen next. We don't have any inside info on any press conferences or anything like that. We're not getting into any of that kind of stuff. But I mean, look, that is not an acceptable defensive performance. And no one feels worse than those guys, I'm sure, but maybe about 86,000 people feel worse. I don't know.
Bad.
That's a quiet crowd coming out of there. You can hear my voice. I feel like I was doing everything my part and to be the 12th man. Rob, you sound like me right now. I mean, I feel for that crowd. That crowd, that's not what I was expecting to see in game 3 of this season for sure. So it's just frustrating, but I'll tell you what, it was a great weekend. Other than that,
it was a lot of fun. Well, Honke, I tell you what, they are breaking down all around us, and noise is picking up. So we're probably going to get out of here ourselves, and hopefully we can meet up with you. But
you're my ride home.
Time and really appreciate the opportunity that we had here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and we'll save whoever's driving a beer.
Absolutely.
I'll drink them all between now and the time you get here.
All right, guys. But we're going to get out of here. Honke, do you have a parting shot?
All I can say is apathy is the worst thing that can happen to a fan base.
Yeah.
And so, we always seem to kind of get over these things, and, tomorrow's a new day and all that. And I'll be at the Oklahoma game next week. Mac will be there with me. It's an unbelievable rivalry. We're going to play some of those Mike Babcock, rivalry show segments that we did. We'll be playing that throughout the week. It is a great week of nostalgia having Oklahoma come here. Brett Cianci of Pick Six Previews is coming in on Friday night. He's excited to see what the rivalry is. I hope, look, the thing that's holding this together right now are fans. The fans showing up and the fans, being there for each other as much as anything. That's to me what's holding it together. And, I've met so many great fans this weekend doing the things that we did and being at the rail yard today. So many great people, so many great Husker fans and Husker Nation and Redcast Nation. That keeps me going because these performances are gutting, and to me they're not apathetic yet. I am gutted by this, and that's the opposite of apathy. Still, apathy would be I didn't even know we played tonight. I know we played, and I just can't believe what I saw. So I guess that's just the frustration. But I hope to see you guys later because you're my ride. So
yeah, absolutely. Rob, what do you got for me?
Well, I think I mentioned it here now. This team has made me drink officially, so I guess I'm not apathetic either. It's
driven you to drink.
Yeah, I'm off the wagon apparently for the evening. So I have though. I just want to thank my beautiful wife for coming out, making this trip with me. We saw an awesome concert last night. Rachel, say hi. Hey. And we saw an awesome concert last night. We're right on the rail for the 311 show. It couldn't have been better. We got all 4 of us together. We got to all hang out. It's the first time. I think it's the most time I've spent with Boomer since I've even met him like 5 years ago. So this has just been fantastic. And you know what, man? I'll be watching the game next week.
Yeah, and Dave, you mentioned all the people in the athletic department that you wanted to thank. Also, Tyler Kai, who we ran into earlier
oh my
today.
God, thank you, Tyler.
We saw him down here again too.
So much, Tyler.
And I've already forgotten the other. I think Bowling and Sam and
no, it was Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow.
Yes.
The guy looked like Tim Tebow in your con. But they're just great people. Honestly, we love the people. So
absolutely.
Yeah, thank you to
all
everyone
right.
this weekend.
Boomer.
Even the people that recognized us at the rail yard, that was kind of cool too. So yeah, to my new family in Florida. So.
Boomer, what do you have for me?
Oh, I just wanted to echo kind of what Honke was saying. I think the fan has become the identity of Nebraska at this point. That's what, like he says, holds this program together and keeps it relevant nationally. And that's just what I'm hoping we all do, just to kind of stay together as fans. It's going to be an odd couple of weeks here, I think. I think we all suspect that. But stay together as fans. We'll stick together in all kinds of weather. So let's continue to do that. And that's what'll keep this program going even through crazy, turbulent times like this. So.
Yeah. You know what? That's a great point. And I'll tell you what, I have utmost trust in Trev. I really do. I feel very good and positive about who we have making decisions. And if he makes decisions, I'm supportive. And I think that he has the right touches behind it. Or, I agree with the decisions he made last year. Even at this point, I still agree with them. I think he wanted to give every opportunity. And sometimes things don't work out. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm really glad that we have Trev in charge to make whatever decisions have to be made.
Hey, and on the bright side, we only lost by 1 score.
That's true. It's like 10 in a row now, so that's pretty good. So,
well, yeah. Well, I think to wrap this up, we've had a lot of conversations about fandom and what it means to be a fan this last week, and I think Boomer's point about this fan base holding this program together is very poignant. And I'm proud that the Redcast is a part of that fandom, and we can do our part. And so we're going to keep on doing that through this season and beyond. So for now, let's call that a Go Big Redcast.
GBR.
Go Big Red.